The Banished were introduced in 2017's Halo Wars 2 and have been revealed as the main antagonists of 343's upcoming epic, Halo Infinite. Just who are these red-loving mercenaries, and how are they such an imposing enemy to the UNSC and Master Chief? Let's take a spoiler-filled trip through their history and find out. The first mission of Halo Wars 2 introduces us to the massive hulking brute known as Atriox. The game wastes no time building up the legend of who he is, versus the reality we learn throughout the campaign. This comes mostly through these Phoenix logs, which are in-game lore dump text files. These logs paint a fascinating and complex picture of who Atriox and the Banished are, versus how they are initially presenting themselves in that game. Let us start at the beginning of the 5-issue comic series, The Rise of Atriox. This issue mirrors the first mission of Halo Wars 2, where we are shown Atriox's history. We see a battle in which the Covenant has complete control of the situation, but instead of ending things there with an aerial bombardment, they choose to continuously send waves of 40 brutes, which is the name given to the Jiralhanae. As countless humans and brutes die, only one on each side is left, with the brute winning the last fight decisively. This is Atriox, and his clan has been repeatedly used as cannon fodder by the Covenant. Slowly but surely, he begins to build a legend among his people as the one who always survives these suicide missions. At one point, Atriox fights with a fellow brute who believes in the Covenant's great journey, and after killing him, he is sentenced to death at the hands of an elite, also known as a Sangheili. After quickly dispatching with his would-be executioner, his fellow brutes rise up and kill the rest of the elite guard, and the group is henceforth banished from the Covenant. The legend of this time for these Banished is inflated a bit in their initial telling, and through those aforementioned in-game Phoenix logs, you learn the truth of how they started. It is thanks in large part to the Covenant just being too busy to ever deal with them directly. The war against humanity and eventually the Flood is taking up the majority of their focus, and Atriox is smart enough to take advantage of this. He and his right-hand monkey Decimus would lead the Banished on raids of Covenant and human facilities to add to their ever-expanding army. Through a mix of mercenaries and those loyal to him, Atriox would spend the next 10 years building the Banished into a formidable force as the Covenant fell into disarray. One major difference between Atriox's leadership of the Banished and the Prophet's leadership of the Covenant was that he was willing to forgive and recruit those he felt were worthy of joining his ranks. Using hit-and-run tactics and sticking to the fringes of Covenant space, the Banished were able to not only stay alive, but quickly build a reputation as a mercenary group worthy of their asking price on jobs. Atriox was indeed terrifying, but his men always honored their word. It is never fully explained or even really mentioned exactly how the Banished were able to reach the Ark in Halo Wars 2, but they quickly killed every UNSC member there, leaving only the AI Isabel alive. Through a series of skirmishes, the UNSC is able to activate an emergency Halo ring in an effort to try and get help, as their ship had lost its slipspace drive in the conclusion of Halo Wars 1. The Banished supercruiser is destroyed during the campaign, leaving them stranded as well. Next, we have the Awakening the Nightmare DLC for Halo Wars 2, which allows you to play as the Banished this time. A pair of brute brothers named Pavium and Vordis accidentally released the dormant Flood from the remnants of the Covenant ship High Charity. These brothers had been directly ordered by Atriox to leave the city ship alone, but Vordis's ambitions blinded him to any potential danger. After an excellent series of campaign missions, you are able to stop the Flood, for the time being, which leads to the Banished's next appearance in the recent book, Halo: Shadows of Reach. This book was written by Troy Denning, and it helps to expand on how the Banished operate and just how Atriox eventually is able to return from the Ark without his ship. Starting off, we meet three factions that are operating within the Banished. These are the religious zealots, the keepers of one freedom, along with the brute-led Legion of the Corpse Moon and brute-led Ravaged Tusks. These three factions have been tasked by Escharum, who we have met in a cutscene at the end of the Xbox 2020 Halo Infinite gameplay demo. He has tasked his men with finding a Forerunner portal that connects to the Ark that Atriox and his men have been stranded on. The Forerunners themselves are a previous race of beings who ruled the galaxy, fought with ancient humans, and so much more great stuff you can find about by reading the incredible novels that make up the Forerunner trilogy. Back to the Banished, though. After constant fights with Master Chief's blue team, local humans, and eventually the full might of the UNSC Infinity, the Banished activate the portal, and Atriox is finally back in the galaxy proper. As this is a sequel to Halo 5 Guardians, Cortana is still in control of the galaxy, and those Guardians are dominant. After all their fighting, the Banished and the USC are quick to vacate the area after achieving their goals. The UNSC was looking for something, a MacGuffin. We're never told exactly what it is, though that might be something we see come to fruition in Halo Infinite as well. This leads us up to that 2020 gameplay trailer and what we can guess about the story of Halo Infinite. The Banished have occupied Halo Installation 07, which is a huge part of the end of the Forerunner trilogy books. This is both an ancient and massively damaged Halo ring that housed places such as the Palace of Pain. This was an area of experimental torture on ancient humans, as the Forerunners attempted to understand why they weren't being infected by the Flood for reasons, and you should read the books to find out, because they're great. Just why are the Banished on this ring? It's clear through the trailers we've been shown so far that the UNSC forces there, including Chief himself, have been thoroughly defeated at the start of the game, but we're not sure why yet. Escharum himself states in a cutscene how easily his men defeated the UNSC, and that he looked forward to the Chief providing him with an actual challenge for once. During that speech, Escharum mentions that his men, along with something known as the Harbinger, are looking to fulfill the will of Atriox. But who is this Harbinger? Nothing official has been revealed yet, and you can find dozens of different fan theories online, but that's it for now. Hopefully, after this year's E3, we will finally know. That is it for now, though. Banished started out small, but now they are powerful enough to seemingly destroy the mightiest ship in the UNSC and leave Master Chief to float in space until a handsome devil of a pilot finds him by luck. It has been a quick rise to power for them, and with Escharum and not Atriox set up as the initial main villain of the campaign, it certainly seems like they will be around for quite a while to come. Thank you as always for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, click that little bell so you know whenever we post. And we will see you here next time on XboxEra.